Hey BookTube, welcome back. I'm Winx, and the ink I'm talking about today is my first book review video. I'm reviewing The Line by J.D. Horn, which is the first book in his Witching Savannah series. And as a warning, I'm not going to give away any big spoilers in this video, but I do want to touch on a few points in the plot, so there will probably be a few small ones in there, and if that is problematic, I suggest you not watch this video until you finish reading the book. So this book follows the story of Mercy Taylor, who is a girl born to a family of witches, but possesses no powers herself. Mercy is then also a twin, and her twin sister Maisie is born with a tremendous amount of power. So needless to say, Mercy kind of grows up in Maisie's shadow. And then her upbringing is further complicated by the fact that she doesn't know who her father is, her mother died during childbirth, and then the remaining extended family that help raise her and her sister are themselves chock full of dysfunction and unhealthy relationships. So it's a bit of rough going for Mercy. Mercy's great aunt Ginny is basically the matriarch of the family. She's what's called an anchor, which in this world is pretty much the most important role you can have as a witch. And there are 13 witch families in the world, but 10 of them help maintain the line, hence the title. And they do that by having this anchor. And I won't go more into that because I feel like it's spoilery and you should experience that in the book. But Ginny hates Mercy. She despises her while at the same time is really outward and vocal about how much she loves Maisie. And because Ginny is so powerful, she more or less forces everyone else in the family to shut Mercy out and keep her ignorant to the ways of magic and being a witch. And Ginny can and will punish people in the family who go against her wishes, so pretty much everyone does what Ginny wants. When the story begins, Mercy is just about to turn 21 and she's caught in something of a love triangle. She's in a relationship with this boy Peter, who clearly really loves her, but Mercy has feelings for her sister's boyfriend, Jackson. So Mercy decides to go and seek out Mother Gilo, who is a root doctor and kind of something of an enemy to her family, and decides to ask Mother Gilo to cast a love spell, not to make Jackson fall in love with her, but to make her fall out of love with Jackson and in love with Peter. But Mother Gilo tells Mercy that it's going to require blood to cast the spell, and she implies that it's going to require enough blood to kill a person. So Mercy tries to back out of the deal, but Mother Gilo says that she's going to cast it anyway. Shortly afterwards, Ginny winds up murdered. So the family is then thrown into chaos. They don't have their anchor anymore, and they're also all pretty concerned about who was possibly powerful enough to take out Ginny. And meanwhile, Mercy's running around trying to figure out how much involvement Mother Gilo had in this, and if Mercy herself is to blame for Ginny dying, and she's also stumbling into this whole other mystery and finding out all these truths about the people around her and in her family. So this is a pretzel of a book. There are twists and turns on every page. You're finding out the dark secrets of the characters you expect to be good and the redeeming qualities of the characters you expect to be bad. And it definitely worked to pull me in, make me feel captivated and intrigued and curious and all those things. As it went further along, the twist kept coming and I did start to feel a little overwhelmed, like I was sort of stumbling through all the twists and I didn't have enough time to get my feet under me and figure out what I thought Mercy should do or what might come next. So that was a little frustrating while I was reading it, but looking back, I do actually appreciate what the author was doing. I was really being put into Mercy's shoes, and all the confusion and uncomfortableness I felt was intentional and really leading up to the climax of the book. Towards the end of the book, things ramped up to two major twists, and these added a lot to the story, particularly the second one. I really enjoyed that one. I thought it was well done and very interesting. Really, that last 10% was my favorite chunk of the book, I'd say, because of that twist. My one complaint about these twists is that I wish there was just a little bit more build up to them. Without giving away exactly what the twists are, I will say that they involve Mercy's Uncle Connor, who's this really unlikable character. He's really mean to Mercy and to his wife. He refers to Mercy as the disappointment all through the book, and is just generally verbally and emotionally abusive all throughout. So very much not a fan of this guy. And the other twist involves Maisie, Mercy's sister. I felt like we got to experience these two characters on sort of a surface level throughout the book, and then with these twists, we sort of plunge down into the depths of their true personalities. And I can't say that it doesn't make sense, because after reading it, I do see how those characters got to the point that they did. But as a reader who really enjoys character development, I think it would have been interesting to see it unfold a bit more, or see a little bit more from their point of view, maybe. I don't know. I just think that that would have been really interesting to flesh out more, and maybe it will in the future books. So then I just had a couple criticisms about some of the magical events and creatures in the book, and I have a feeling that these are probably going to get explained further into the series. First is the character Emmett, who had this really awesome and memorable entrance into the story. Emmett is a golem who is basically just this creature body thing that holds the consciousness and intelligence of representatives from the other 9 witch families that have anchors in them. Originally, Emmett comes after Jenny's murder, but then sticks around because they're going to have witnesses from the other families when the new anchor is chosen. So Emmett's just kind of like hanging out there to help out. And because of how cool the entrance was and how interesting that character is, I was really hoping that he would play a bigger role in the book. So I was a little disappointed in how much he actually came into play in the book, but I have a feeling that he's going to become bigger in the coming books, hopefully. Then there were a couple magical events that happened that I felt didn't really get explained very well, and I wish that they would have had just a little bit more fleshing out. One example of this is actually with Emmett, where something happens to him at the end of the book that disconnects him from those representatives, but while leaving some small bit of their intelligence and their consciousness in him so that the golem himself comes to life. So that seems like a really epic event, but it was explained sort of offhandedly in a sentence or two. So I wish that that was fleshed out a little bit more. It just sounds really interesting, so I want to know what happened exactly. And I felt like there was a couple points like that in the story where I could use just a tad bit more fleshing out. And like I said, maybe this will happen more in books to come. Those criticisms aside, I actually really enjoyed this book. I thought that the extremely flawed characters made for a really interesting and unpredictable read. And also seeing Mercy's flaws in the beginning of the book and throughout really highlights how much she grows as a character and matures as a character by the end of it. There's also a point in the story where Mercy is given the ability to have magic for one day, and I thought that the descriptions in this part of the book were really nice. Horn did a good job of explaining what magic would feel like from a non-magical point of view. So he described feelings of warmth or tingling that really helped me visualize what was happening and put myself in that situation. There was also a part where Mercy described the feelings of having power as a picture coming into focus, and I thought that was a really neat way of describing it. I enjoyed the characters, especially Oliver. He was my favorite for sure. All the characters had really unique voices, and there were some accents in there, and a lot of little things like that that just added to the authenticity. I thought the writing style was also quite nice. It had a good pace, and it was easy to digest. And of course, I can't finish this review without talking about the cover art. I actually read a Kindle copy of the book, but I looked up a picture of the cover for a previous video, and it is so pretty, so I will just put it up here, and we can all take a moment to appreciate how pretty this is. I also looked at the covers for the next few books in this series, and they are all very pretty as well. So I might have to buy a physical copy of the next book whenever I get to that one. So yeah, overall I enjoyed this. I gave it 4 stars on Goodreads, and I'm definitely planning on reading the second book here soon. I'm curious to hear if any of you have read this one and what your thoughts are if so. Let me know, like this video if you enjoyed it, and feel free to subscribe if you'd like to see more. I hope you guys are all having a great week, and I will talk to you later. Bye!